It's about time. Welcome to the non-judgmental side of the internet, where we talk about anything and everything. Nothing is off the table. You ask your questions, we answer them, and have honest conversations about love, family, career, and all forms of relationships. My name is Ifubara Davis, and do I look like your therapist? Hi guys! I feel like this is a long time coming, and all of you have been asking me about, the podcast, the TV show. And I'm here to say, here we go. We have a podcast now, and I'm very happy to be bringing this to you guys because I like to talk, and I know you guys like to listen. And also, you guys have been asking me a lot of questions, a whole lot of questions about different things, right? And this episode is particularly dedicated to a theme because most of the conversations or most of the questions, you've been asking, and most of the conversations we've been having, or the mini conversations we've been having, are surrounded around that topic, right? So before we go into it, let me just gist you a little bit about how, life has been so far. Just coming out of the house, I would say I didn't expect a lot of things that I saw. And I think if you've been following me, you've noticed what has been happening with socials, etc. But I'm so happy with just like how far we've gone, or how far I've gone, because it's been a whole journey, and I'm proud of myself, right? And I'm very, very happy for the community that I've gotten so far with that, with everything that's happened. I have been overwhelmed a lot of times, and that's why sometimes it's not like I don't want to answer DMs or anything. It's just that I'm overwhelmed by so much going on. But I try here and there to just answer questions, but this podcast is here because the questions, sometimes can be a lot. I think just going into the house, I answered a lot of people's questions, and people sort of took from that and was like, okay, this babe, maybe you have sense. Maybe you understand people, right? And you might help me with my issues. And I'm very grateful for every one of you for trusting me with these things, or trusting me with these your questions and these your issues. And I have created this platform for you to keep sending them so that more people can sort of like learn from these experiences and learn from the answers that I give and the insights to these questions. Over the course of this podcast, we'll be having guests, so it won't just be me. But for today, I feel like you need to get a feel of who I am, and just, because since the house, I don't think apart from interviews, if you've been following my interviews, I don't think a lot of people have listened to me speak for a lengthy period. So yeah, so I hope that you stick around, because I feel like you're going to learn so much from everything we're going to say. And with that, I would say let's get right into the questions. The first one. Okay, I like this question so much, and I'm very, 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 very passionate about this one. First of all, actually, let's backtrack. I feel like a lot of questions you've been asking is about love, and I find it very interesting. Is it that everybody is falling in love these days, or I'm the one that is, left behind? I don't know. But like, it's very interesting to see all your perspectives about love and everything that is doing everybody. I promise that that's not all we're going to talk about in this podcast, but most of the questions that I've gotten so far about that. So I feel this episode is going to be a lot about it. So if that's your jam, stick around. First question. My boyfriend has been ghosting me for some days. He's been dodging communication, and when I had the balls to confront him about it, he said he needed some time to think about it. Tell me why he ghosted again for some days, and then came back to say he was just growing weary because of the distance, and he's slowly detaching from the relationship. And not only that, the communication that's supposed to help is not doing what it should. Let me state that this relationship has been one kind from the get-go. We have never said I love you to each other, and even calling babe, in quotes, has been a struggle. But I genuinely like him. He's cool-headed and very kind, but I'm not seeing the kindness play out in what's going on at the moment. What do I do? Like I said, I find anything ghosting related, I find it very, 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 very interesting, because this is something that a lot of people are doing. And this is what a lot of people are also going through, but they don't know how to navigate. First of all, I will start by saying ghosting is horrible. In every context applicable, it is a horrible thing to do. And I will not say that, oh yeah, I'm sitting down, I understand why people ghost, blah, blah, blah. I'm a psychologist. I understand why everybody does anything. However, it is just not acceptable behavior, especially when somebody is in a relationship, right? So if your partner ghosts you, on a normal day, when you talk to other people, they'll be like, oh, you know what? Ghosting back, run away, blah, blah, blah. But I understand how feelings are. Feelings will not allow you to just leave the situation when you're ghosted. Feelings will allow you to ruminate over the situation and allow you to sit down and be like, yeah, what did I do that warranted this? But it's very important that as a person, you do not sit down and say, what did I do? It's very important that you sit down and understand what you've given in the relationship versus what you are receiving in the relationship. And I think you sort of like have a grasp of that already, right? Where you're like, the relationship has been one kind from the get-go. It means you already even have an understanding of what is happening, right? So I wouldn't say, oh, just pick up and disappear the same way the person disappeared, because it is you also doing the thing that the person did. So now the boyfriend has returned, right? And he has ghosted for some days again. That's what you're saying. Came back to say he was just growing worried, then he ghosted again, blah, 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 blah. I'll simply tell you that this person is not respectful of your time as a person in a relationship with them. And it's important that you respect yourself enough to not be in a situation with somebody that is disrespectful of your time. It is one thing to say, I am slowly, removing myself from the situation, or it's one thing for the person to say they are slowly growing wary of, the relationship and explain why, then end the relationship, than actually just disappearing. It means they don't respect your time enough or respect you enough to give you, to give you the end that you deserve, right? Especially because there is no part here that says you did something to warrant it. So, like you said, you've never said I love you. I don't know how far off in the relationship you are, because some people don't do the I love yous or the babes very early on. Some people do it later on. But it's very important that like you said here too, you said he's cool-headed and very kind, but you're not seeing the kindness. So what exactly made you understand that he's very kind? Because if he's not playing out in what's going on, how exactly is he kind? Do you think he's kind to others? Because if he's kind to others and not kind to you, that's a red flag. For real. Like, there's this thing people do where they try to rationalize things so much, and they rationalize it so much that they take out what is truly happening, which I think is what's happening to you. So you're seeing kindness because you've seen it in some parts, and you're not understanding why somebody that is that kind, you're rationalizing it in a way that, okay, somebody that is that kind, why is he not kind to me here? The truth is that people are the owners of their choices, and if they choose not to do things for you, do not create answers to why they're not doing it. Just listen. First of all, their actions should depict, what they're saying, and also listen to what they're saying. So he's saying he's growing wary of the relationship. Listen to that. You don't want to be with somebody that is not fully present with you. That's number one. And you also don't want to be with somebody that disrespects you. That's number two. Then the third thing is that what ghosting does for you mentally is that it makes you feel like you're not enough over and over again, and makes you analyze situations and question things that are not real over and over again, affecting you mentally over and over again. So you're in a position where you're uncertain for such a long time, and it's almost like, if I do this thing, he'll ghost again. If I do this thing, he'll ghost again. So you're just an anxious wreck in your relationship, and it will affect your present relationship and the relationship to come. So my advice to you here, as a professional, but also like a regular babe, man, I think it's time to pack up this relationship. You do not deserve someone that ghosts you. Please think about yourself as a babe and go to somebody that actually deserves you and will not ghost you and will actually communicate with you during a conversation, because that's what you deserve. Okay? Bye. Second question. I'm in a relationship and I feel so, you people like relationship. I'm in a relationship and I feel so insecure because he has his ex around, and I feel like she still likes him, which makes everything confusing. At some points, I believe they're done, but other times I feel like something is going on. What should I do? Another interesting one, to be honest. Insecurity is something that's not easy. It's not something that you can easily deal with or easily let shake off, right? Insecurity is something that builds over the years, and in order to let go of it, you also have to build it brick by brick. And now there's this X around. I think there's the context I'm getting here, right, is that this person is around you guys physically, right? And she still likes him. You feel like she still likes him. So you're not sure. You just feel like, right? However, I will not invalidate your feelings because at the end of the day, we see things, right? But it's important that you should understand why you feel that way. Like, why do you feel like she still likes him? Is it because of actions from her or actions from him? Is it because they are close to an extent? Because sometimes people are close to their exes and their friends, but because you are aware or you have because you have the awareness that they were once exes, you can see the closeness as, feelings when they aren't actually feelings. So it's left for you to sort of like analyze that by yourself and sit down and be like, okay, are actions rather, are they tallying with that of someone that likes someone? Or are you seeing things because they once had feelings for each other? That's number one. Number two is boundaries. How much boundaries have you actually drawn with this person? That is your partner, right? Because at the end of the day, your partner owes you everything, and that person, and the girl owes you nothing. She's not your friend. She's not your person. It's nothing. You're nothing to her at the end of the day. But your partner is something to you, and your partner is the person that's supposed to, have boundaries here. In the end, sitting down with your partner and having a conversation about what is too much or too little is what's important. A lot of people struggle with having these conversations with their partners even before these things happen. And it's okay, to be honest, because some people do not know that there are things that will happen to them that will make them feel insecure until they happen, which is absolutely fine, by the way. Like, don't stress. It's a lot of people. It's like a whole lot of people. So now that you've figured out that, okay, maybe this thing is making you insecure, sit down and have boundaries. So a good way to do boundaries, like drawing for people a lot of times, is pretty much one, figuring out what is this thing that hurts you, right? Then transfer it into what the boundary looks like. Second thing is actually implementing that boundary, right? So you create the boundary, you implement the boundary. And the third thing is that you create consequences for this boundary. So after implementing the boundary, which is telling your partner in a kind and thoughtful way, the last thing is creating consequences for the boundary. So you don't tell people, oh, I don't like this thing, or this thing shouldn't happen, in the relationship because it makes me feel a little bit off, without creating consequences. Consequences are just the thing that you would do if the person doesn't respect that boundary moving forward. Because you're a human being, and if your boundary is not respected and the person sees that there are no consequences to their actions moving forward, what's going to happen is that they're going to repeat it over and over again because they know you're not doing anything about it. And at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be hurt in the relationship and stuck in something because your love for the person is growing each day and you're just stuck there. So you're saying at some point you believe they're done, but at other times you feel like something is going on. Honestly, just don't rush into conclusion of what is going on. However, do not invalidate your feelings. So have the conversation about it with your partner. Watch actions, create the boundaries, implement them, and create consequences for them. I promise you that is the answer to your question. And when that happens and you see that there's no change in behavior, especially if you feel like the said behavior is repeated, it's time for you to start thinking about, is this relationship still the one where you're respected, or is it time to bounce? Another thing is that you should never, ever, ever just approach the other person because, like I said, your partner here is your problem and it should always be targeted to your partner. And that's the person that owes you respect and faithfulness or integrity in whatever, situation this is. That is it. And all of y'all are anonymous, so I don't know your names, so I'm just yarning. Okay, this question is short and sweet. I think I'm in love with my best friend. Maybe I just like her too much, or I don't really know. This question is always so not funny in a bad way, like I'm laughing at you for it, but it's just like it is a human experience. It's something that's happened to so many people, being in love with one's best friend. Being in love with your best friend can go two ways. It can go in the way of it actually being one of the best relationships ever. However, it can go in the way of just your friendship dying and moving into the grave and never coming out of that place again. So the first thing I always say for people that come to me and talk about this, I'm in love with my best friend P, is that you should actually sit down with yourself and actually have the conversation. Is this love, or is this, limerence? Is this just you sitting down and because you're always close to the person thinking that, maybe it would work out, or maybe because both of you just like have things in common or anything, you think it will work out, or it's just easier because there's no other person, you've connected with like that. And it's important to have that conversation so that and when you're having that conversation, don't block yourself from every possibility, because when you start blocking yourself from every possibility, you start to think, you start to think about it in a way of, because your feelings are involved, they start to cloud your judgment. Don't cloud your judgment. Think about it in every way, whether it works out or it doesn't work out. What does it look like? Sit down and have that conversation. And if you think that it can work out and you're not a shitty person, because some people are shitty people, let me not lie. They can be very good friends, but they are horrible, horrible partners. And once you cross that line with your best friend, there's no going back. And you can be a very amazing friend, but when it's time to be a partner, a lover, and all of that, you're just going to give the person worst times of their lives, and we don't want that. We don't want that, right? So have that conversation with yourself, then go ahead. If you think like it's okay that, you want to pursue something, you can then go ahead to speak to your best friend about it. Speak to them about it. The highest they can say is no, they don't want again. And I know that sometimes the no leads to all of you just ending the friendship. But in your head, think about it. Is this worth it? Are these feelings like real, as you say? I believe that there's a way you can speak about it that allows you to have such a decent conversation that the person knows that even if it doesn't work out, you don't have to stop your relationship, or you don't have to stop your friendship. However, there is also that possibility that the person will be like, yeah, this is awkward. We have to end this friendship. And you should understand that speaking with them poses that risk. And do you want that? Do you want to take that risk? If you can take that risk because, love wins and all, do it. However, if you think that it's too risky to do it, then it's okay. Let it go. A good way to let it go is actually giving the person space. For very mature people like me, if you're just like me, for very mature people, you can also have the conversation that, hi, I have, I'm developing feelings and I want to take some time off the friendship and, take some time off the friendship. It's not going to kill you. What it's going to do is going to help you lose your feelings. It's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. I can't sit there and be telling you that, oh, it's not going to be painful. It's going to be painful as hell. Like, you're going to be tired. In fact, you're going to wake up and be like, oh my God, the one person I used to talk to about like all my situationships and all my headaches, the one person is not here to listen to me. But not gonna lie to you, you need it to let go. You need the space, because when you meet best friend, it's waking up in the morning every day now to talk to the person, waking up or going to bed every night to talk to the person. Because best friendships in my head is almost like a relationship, but without feelings. So if you're now saying that you have feelings for the person, then it means that it has passed that one now. So it means that it's a little more complicated. It's a little more complicated than it, right? So if that is it for you, take some time off and, see other people. I'm always team see other people when you're trying to let go. Team see other people, because what it does is that it opens your eyes to what the world gives, or what you can get from the outside. I don't like to say missing, because there's nothing missing. Please, everybody is different and they give you different things at the same time. But it opens your eyes to what other things that, you can experience when it comes to being in relationships. So see other people, take your time off, then later go on and, continue your friendship when the feeling is gone. If you can, I know some people can't, or a lot of people can't, but yeah, that's that for that question. I'm 24 and I don't know if I'd find love. No, I've been in a relationship before for 2 years. It's just a lot of complicated issues. The people I seem to like don't want me. Nobody is even moving to me, and I get to say that I don't want. I don't think about it a lot, but sometimes I just want my own person. I see people in love and I really want that for myself. Also learning to accept that I might not eventually find the love I want. Teaching myself to be okay with that, but I'm not going to lie, it's hard. But even if love finds me, how would I know? I really like this question, especially the part where the person says, they're accepting that they might not eventually find the love that they want, which I think is a very, very solid thing to do. And I know. A lot of people might think that, why would you advise somebody that they should accept that they will never find love? It's because love is random as hell. And it is very, very, very luck based. Stay with me. A lot of times when people will be like, oh yeah, this person is fine, why are they not finding love? But this person not that good looking, why did they find love? That's tell you how random it is, right? It's not a thing about looks, it's not a thing about character, it's not a thing about any of that. It is just two people randomly matching or meeting somewhere and deciding to give it a go. You're 24, which I think that is a very, very young age to actually be thinking about the impending doom of not finding love. 24 is actually quite young. I promise you that, well, let me not promise you things, but a lot of times there is love in front of you, but sometimes you don't see it. A good way to start is to actually think about the other parts or the other ways love is in your life that is not necessarily romantic. It allows your life to be full without romantic love. So that's what you said, which is, if love finds you, how would you know? That is how you know. In order to know what love feels like or looks like, you need to have experienced it before. And a very good way to experience it is with family and friendships, especially friendships. Family is very good love, it's almost like you're born and everybody's forced to love you, yada, yada, yada. But the thing about friendships is that it is chosen love, much like relationships, right? This person knows you from nowhere, but they've decided that it's on your matter that they would die, right? And it's very lovely all the time to see, and it preps you a lot for what a romantic relationship would look like, because it's the same thing. You go on calls a lot. You talk almost every day or every day for romantic relationships. For someone like me now, I talk to my friends every day, whether we're on FaceTime or we are texting. There's just a friend that I'm talking to every day, and it allows my life to be full. But you're 24. I think you should not to invalidate your feelings, because your feelings are very valid. Love is actually quite beautiful and everybody should experience it. But I think that you're putting so much pressure on yourself to find love. And with that, you're ignoring the kind of love that you might have in front of you, which is with family and friends. So look at that, appreciate that, nurture that in the way that you can so much, and allow your heart to expand so that when the other one comes, you're able to understand that this is how kind love is supposed to be, and this is how glorious love is supposed to be, so that you just do not accept anything when it comes. Because one thing about feeling like you're desperate for love is that when anything comes in the image of love, because some things are not actually, let me not even lie to you, there are some things that will come and they're nothing like love, but they look like the outside. It's almost like the outside is love, but when you look inside, it's empty, it's a shell. When those things come, it's important that you already have a strong image of what love looks like, so that you're not bamboozled by somebody that will come and show you a good time for 1 month and they've disappeared forever, or 3 months. According to all them, there are some quizzes you do online and they're like, oh, situationships last for 3 months. After 3 months, if the relationship still lasts, that means it is actually solid. But if it's not. Actually look it up. It's actually a thing. But it's something that, I've noticed too in a lot of things. The first few months are, rosy. But after month 3, if you look at it, things start being wonky. Anyway, back to you. I feel like you're young. I don't think that you need to put so much pressure on yourself. And I feel like you should also love yourself. There's a way you can love yourself that also helps you understand love better. And on accepting that you might not eventually find the love that you want, is actually a good way to look at it. Because whether we like it or not, some people do not find the love of their lives, or the love of their lives are not romantic partners. And if you look at it as something that is the worst thing ever, it will be the worst thing ever. You should be okay with the fact that you might not find a romantic partner for the rest of your life, and be chill with it. You should love yourself that much and love your friends and family that much that life is that for you. Because if you're stuck with that idea, and it never comes, you just have a life being miserable for the rest of your life. So think about it that way. That's always my advice for people. Love yourself so much that if romantic love never comes, it never feels like your life was empty. Have a career. build connections, go have communities. Like this, I'm a big fan of communities. Yeah. I'm a big fan of going out, having book clubs, going on book clubs. If your thing is not book clubs, if your thing is, for instance, I belong to a book club. I belong to a Nollywood watching club, a film club. There's no club that I don't belong to. I'm just everywhere. All the things that interest me, I have clubs for them so that I can go anytime that I want. And some things I'm not even part of the clubs. I just wake up and they say, oh, maybe they're kayaking somewhere and I feel like kayaking that day. I'll go and kayak. Oh, they're building jewelry. They're doing a jewelry, I don't know, making thing. I will go and do it. Oh, they can just say, oh, they're painting and doing something. I'll go and do it. It allows my life to be full. So if you can fill your life with those things or things that interest you here and there, I promise you that, yeah, your life is not going to feel too bad. It's not going to feel too bad. Anyway, those are the questions for episode 1. Anyway, those are the questions that we are going to take today. But from the whole questions, I really like that everybody is sort of trying to understand their love life better and not just like throwing it in the wind. One thing that I noticed that was there for everybody was some form of introspection already done. So it means that we're actually thinking. We're not just saying, okay, I feel this way. What does it mean? It means that, okay, you've thought about it. You've understood that something is off there, which is something I always try to advocate for people. There's a feeling in you when something is off that you shouldn't ignore, even if it's very tiny. Like me, I never ignore these things. Like, even if it's the tiniest thing and somebody speaks to me somehow, I might not confront them immediately, but it's kind of there. It's something I'm watching for, so that if it's done again, I don't feel like I'm crazy. Or if I can go back to my room and be like, oh, they spoke to me that way, and I can go back and confront them about it. And so introspection is very important, especially when it comes to love related things. It's something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people just feel things and they act on them. I feel this way. I love my best friend. Boom, going to talk to the best friend. Nah, can't do that. You actually have to sit down and think about it. Think about the consequences of actions. Because one thing about adulthood is that consequences will come and bite you. Like, they don't play. Consequences in adulthood is almost like the number one rule when you turn 18. There are consequences everywhere and they will come and they will bite you. So you should actually think about it. Me as a pro-love girl, it's very important that I like to preach that people love beyond romantic love. It helps you to understand romantic love better. There's this book, All About Love by Bell Hooks. It's one of the best books ever because it breaks down all the types of love, from religious to parenthood to siblinghood to romantic to community to even non-love. It breaks down all the kinds of love because it helps you to understand why these things happen and just like ways to navigate it, right? So I recommend that book to everybody. Anyway, that is it for today. And I hope everybody was able to get something from this episode. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet so that we're not, sleeping here. However, I really hope everybody got something from it. And in next episode, we're going to answer more questions. So don't forget to send in your questions. I'm always here to listen. It's non-judgmental, like you see when we answer the questions. No question is off the table because, these questions are things that a lot of people don't want to ask their family, their friends, because they are too shy or they're not able to. But these questions are from anonymous people. You send them in. I don't ask for your names. Just do it. As the, former resident therapist, in the Big Brother house. But like now you're still not your therapist, but psychologist of the internet, your faith psychologist on the internet. I would make sure to offer as much advice as I can, and also subsequently have guests on for us to discuss them and other things that, you might find interest in. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow all my social media for, other things that we might be putting up, including resources and just conversations that we might be having beyond, the podcast. Don't forget to like and share to everybody you think might need this, your family, your friends, even people that, they just want to listen in the conversation. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, please. I want to hear your thoughts on this episode, on, what love is like for you. Leave as many comments, ask your questions. The form is always up. The form is in the bio, is in my bio on all social media platforms. And also you find it in the comment section so that you can also send in your questions. And yeah, my name is Ibifubara Davis, and do I look like a therapist? Bye guys.